Breaking right now, the debate over transgender rights is heading to court, and the outcome will very likely have a huge impact on the entire country. The Department of Justice just announced that it is suing North Carolina over its restroom law that the feds say violates the U.S. Civil Rights Act. It all comes, as you remember, we've been laying it out here for you on the Now and covering it very closely, after the state of North Carolina also announced today that it is suing the federal government after the DOJ gave it until today to throw out the law, that HB2 law, that some say creates state-sponsored discrimination in the state of North Carolina. The Now's Todd Walker working on this breaking development from right there on the ground in North Carolina. Todd?
Yeah, Shannon, we have dueling lawsuits now. Not many people expected Governor Pat McCrory to back down from this one, despite the millions that it has already cost his state. And instead today, he doubled down on his defense of the bill.
Our nation is dealing with a very new, complex, and emotional issue. How to balance the expectations of privacy and equality.
North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory is not backing down from threats from the federal government that his state's House Bill 2, dubbed the Bathroom Bill, violates the Civil Rights Act or Title IX, which bars discrimination by public schools.
This is not just a North Carolina issue. This is now a national issue, and an issue which imposes new law on every private sector employer.
Governor McCrory today filed suit asking a federal court to declare North Carolina's bill, which says transgender people must use the bathroom or locker room that corresponds with their sex at birth, does not violate Title VII, which prohibits employers from discriminating based on sex.
The class of people that the Justice Department are referring to are not a protected class under Title VII. And until Congress changes that, that's the law.
Billions in federal funding is at stake for North Carolina and its university systems. Legal experts say this lawsuit is just about the only option for the governor.
I think the lawsuit is needed to be filed to be able to preserve the status quo until these issues can be sorted out legally.
That language sounds so reminiscent of the language of the 50s and governors in the South saying the same thing.
The NAACP and the ACLU were among some of the groups quick to condemn the governor's actions.
Once you allow any people to be discriminated against, who's next?
This fight is far from over and could now be tied up in the courts for years. The governor said he asked the Justice Department for an extra 2 weeks to respond to this. He said he didn't have enough time, and he says they only offered him a week, and that was if he made a public statement saying that he agreed with the Justice Department that this bill was discriminatory. Obviously, he wasn't going to do that. He's defended it since the beginning. And the governor's lawsuit does leave a big question open. What does it do about the Title IX funding? It doesn't address it, and that could leave billions at stake for state public schools. The governor says he was leaving that up to the universities and the public school systems to decide. I called the University of North Carolina today. They said that they have not made a decision yet. They have not decided how they are going to respond, but we'll let you know as soon as they do. Shannon?
And Todd, as you mentioned, wow, they've already taken huge losses. This could be another major impact for the state of North Carolina. So tell me this, and I know we've been talking about two lawsuits here now the justice is suing back, but the first lawsuit, North Carolina suing the feds, how much of a chance does that lawsuit have in terms of being successful?
Right. It's really unclear right now. Title IX and Title VII already in them protect against discrimination based on sex. It does not explicitly say gender identity. So the question will be whether this judge who's considering this case thinks that it does or not. The lower courts who have considered this, which aren't very many right now, they've been split on the issue so far. So that's why the state believes right now that they are not in violation of the Civil Rights Act. But it's really unclear. And what the court decides, it's a federal court, will obviously have national implications.
Todd Walker for us in Raleigh, North Carolina, right there on the ground zero of this hot debate today. Todd, thanks. Well,